Okay, so let's get into the final story of the night. As Hollywood After Dark progresses, we will dabble, and I hate to say this, but we will dabble in the rumor speculation mill a little bit because that is stuff people are talking about. But it is also kind of interesting because James Gunn is doing what he's doing as a studio head to shut down speculation about Robin appearing in the Batman Part 2, saying, please stop believing this nonsense. Now, a lot of people are using this as a way to shit on a guy by the name of Jeff Sneider. Jeff Sneider is a scooper, right? He's not liked by anyone, I think, in Hollywood at all. He's very controversial. He is, very bullheaded, and he does that on purpose because he knows that it pisses people off. Okay. And so Gunn is saying, please stop, believing this nonsense. He says, I think 6 of us have read the script. No one knows anything about the Batman Part 2, except it's going into pre-production already, and it's going to start filming next year or early next year, which means that as it goes into pre-production, more and more people are going to read the script. Line producers can figure out what they're going to need to do for sets. You have your set builders, set designers, your cinematographer is going to be able to have to read the script to figure out the type of lighting and everything else, and to work with the director and all the actors and everyone. Look, man, it's nonsense to say it like that. But the thing we have to remember here is that looking at this is something I got today. Okay, so there's been this active movement to kind of call out Jeff Sneider. Because they said here, the Insider is not a reliable source for DC News and has a history of false leaks. For example, the Insider claimed Teen Titans film script was turned in, prompting Gunn to say otherwise. The Insider has also claimed Pattinson would appear in the Penguin Season 1. Now, I do think that the Pattinson was supposed to appear in the Penguin Season 1, but they opted to cut it out, and they just left us with the tease at the end, which is fine. Also, that show had gone through multiple delays and reshoots. You had COVID, you had the strikes, you had a lot of stuff that kept that show from getting out in a timely manner, and its budget to absolutely balloon. And so maybe they thought, just as a cost-cutting measure, they would keep him out of the party, which makes a lot of sense, right? Why bring him in when you're already contracting him to a certain amount of appearances and then waste one of those appearances on just a cameo in the Penguin if you don't have the money to back it up? Now, I'm going to use Henry Cavill as an example here because that's why in 2022, leading up to the release of Black Adam, during the tumultuous time when Warner Brothers Discovery was trying to find a new head, and James Gunn was working on Superman, and no one knew James Gunn was working on Superman, and The Rock was making his play to take over DC Studios, and all this craziness, right? There should be a movie made, a documentary made about how that a whole 4-month period played out, because Henry Cavill had one more appearance left on his contract, and they talked with him into shooting 2 cameos, one for Black Adam, one for The Flash, and they paid him $250,000 per cameo. So $500,000. They shot everything, I think, in about 3 hours on a Saturday or something. And he had the suit that he had kept from Justice League that he brought home, and he took that with him to set in order to do that. So the man made $500,000 for 3 hours worth of work. I mean, my God. Sign me up, please. But that's all this is, right? Is certain things change, they ebb and they flow. Jeff Sneider has gotten things right. He has gotten things wrong. Daniel Richtman has gotten things right, gotten things wrong. I'm not a big fan of the scooper game. I'm really not. People put too much faith into that shit. But I also raise my eyebrow when I see James Gunn, who is now the co-head of the studio, coming out and trying to shut it down. He said the same thing about Grace Randolph. Okay, because stuff gets said out of that, but his job as studio head is to clamp down and to make it something that is, not going to end up destroying the integrity of the movie. That his job is to protect the integrity of the films, the integrity of the story, the integrity of the studio. Does that mean that he will lie? Oh yeah, 100,000% that means he will lie. So don't trust Jeff Sneider, fine, but you can't trust James Gunn either. Okay, not until it's something that is tangibly being made. You have photos of the set, photos of production, a release date, a confirmation, a green light, something along those lines that will be more believable. At that point, you believe it. But until then, he's got no reason to tell you the truth. And I think we just need to really kind of remember that, right?